Big up, friends. This is MMA Jammin with the mighty Kyle Chin. Welcome back. And man, I'm so excited about what we got to talk about. Been super busy, and I'm not going to be putting as many clips on this one just because this week is crazy, but I had to shoot an episode for this week because so much is going on. As usual, we're going to start out with a little jam. Big up to Buju who won festival competition. I am a Jamaican. Big tune, but you don't know. I want loud up my friend Sakina, who was in the competition as well and had a great song. So we don't know where I started out.
More than 50 years strong, we are Jamaica. We have figured along, we are Jamaica. Tell me if I'm wrong, we are Jamaica. Help me sing the song. On August 6, 1962, black, green and gold, red, white and blue. Say bye-bye to the Queen and the Union Jack. God, whatever, never looking back.
Yeah, big up yourself, Sakina. It was an amazing festival run. Bless up. You don't know, you always the on top. Winner your name. Alright, so straight into it, man. Like, this weekend was an amazing weekend for fights. Of course, before I even start on UFC, I have to big up Jason Jackson for his victory in Bellator. You don't know, Jamaicans doing them thing. So Jason had an amazing fight. You know, he really utilized those calf kicks. And you know, it's a rough thing when you're out of competition for a while. And Jordan Mean wasn't, he hadn't fought in a little while. And it's funny because since Jordan Mean would have last fought, the calf kicks have become a staple. And that's not something you can practice very much in training either because it's so debilitating. But, Jason came back into competition and there's nothing quite like, competing. So even when you're in the gym and you're sparring, the kind of intensity that you can put in is not going to equal the intensity of when you're in the cage in front of the big lights doing the thing. So John and me came in, you saw like a ring rust, you saw that he didn't have the kind of conditioning for, that kind of, intense fight, especially after being out of competition for so long. And Jason just picked him apart, just beautiful striking. Like I say, him land about 5 calf kicks in it. It doesn't take a lot. It doesn't take that many. And Jordan just couldn't manage, man. Excellent fight for Jason. So, jumping back over to the UFC now, it was an amazing card. It was the Robert Whittaker versus Darren Till card. And thank God my boy Robert came out on top as I expected. But listen, you can't take nothing away from Darren Till. This shows how good Darren Till is, man. I mean, we know how Kelvin Gastelum competed against the current champion Israel Adesanya for the middleweight belt. And to see how, Darren Till beat Kelvin Gastelum and then went in there with Robert, who was the former champ, and really did well for himself, stood his ground. They really had a chess match of a fight. Some people might think it's a little boring, but there was so much technical things happening, so many adjustments that were consistently happening, just because these guys, needed to be in the right position. And he caught Robert early. He caught Robert early with an elbow that almost put Robert flat out. Well, it dropped him a little. It was a flash knockout. And Robert recovered quickly enough and was able to stay in the fight. And that's the thing with Robert, man. He's got that champion vibe, that champion spirit, and him naga just done just like that. So that was an excellent fight, in my opinion. I loved it. Then you have Mauricio Shogun Hua versus Lil Nog, and this is the third time they're fighting, and there's a reason we keep seeing them fighting, even though Shogun had beaten Lil Nog twice before. We keep seeing this fight because it's such an excellent matchup. Shogun is from that shooter box school, that kickboxing, that Muay Thai, and he's going against Lil Nog, who is that BJJ excellence versus and as well as boxing aficionado. You see me? Him and both Nagiro brothers, the twins, excellent boxers, and that's what we saw. We saw Muay Thai versus boxing, and it was a slugfest. I was really happy to see that these guys performed well considering their age. Lil Nog did not look like a 44-year-old in there. His body was in shape. He was moving well. He was striking well. He was defending well. It was an excellent fight. Shogun's face was all marked up by the end of it, but Shogun came out on top, and it went to decision like we needed it to do. It was excellent. I think both men won that night. Lil Nog proved that he's not done. He's not too old for this. It's all good. Fabricio Verdum, Alexander Gustafsson, Jano Star. Wow! Talk about an upset. Talk about the upset. Nobody expected this. All the odds, everything was definitely skewed way over to Gustafsson. Nobody expected that Fabricio would be able to take down Gustafsson. And I was actually thinking that Verdum's last outing against Olenek was almost the best thing that could have happened because everybody underestimated it because of it. But Verdum really didn't prepare well for that fight. He was out of shape. He came in heavy. It didn't look like he did much sparring. He actually said that he didn't do much sparring for that fight. And it showed, man. There was such a huge difference. When Verdum came for this fight, he was in shape. He was looking really good. Good movement, everything. Gustafsson didn't really land a strike. And Verdum was able to use his old man strength and his old man tricks and pull Gustafsson down. And once he's down, he just kept him down there. And they were dry. They were both dry. Once you get somebody down earlier, before the sweat starts to run, it's easier to hold them down because the sweat really does make a big difference. I remember the first time I fought, the first time we went past round one thing that I noticed was the difference when you train in shirts and so on, and when you're rolling without a shirt and you're sweating. It's completely different. There's no friction, so you can't hold the person down. Them can slip out easier. You know what I mean? So the sweat made a huge difference. It was early in the fight. He was able to take him down and then get the armbar. And Verdum is a world champion, world class, and arguably one of the best to ever do it. Arguably, Verdum is the best to ever do it, considering his opponents and who he's beaten. Stipe obviously has the most defenses of the heavyweight title, but Verdum, a former champion, and his run to the championship was amazing. And before his run, he had beaten the great legend Fedor Emelianenko. So anyway, that was an incredible fight. He caught him in the armbar, and I really hope that this doesn't mean... I hope Gustafsson isn't dissuaded and decides to retire again. The fact that he just came out of retirement to do this fight is a big deal, and I'm really hoping that he just brushes this off and keeps going, because I think his potential in the heavyweight division is great. I think now that he's felt the difference in weight and strength for the heavyweight division, I think he's going to make certain what adjustments he needs to make. Maybe more powerlifting, maybe just more strength work. So we'll see how that goes. Carla Esparza looked really, really good. She, got touched up by Marina, but still came out on top with her decision. Just used her wrestling as we thought she would. And like I said, you kind of, it's hard not to give the edge to the wrestler in these situations. Paul Craig, first round submission. Paul Craig is on a run, looking really good. Alex Cowboy Oliveira versus Peter Sabata. As we, I didn't actually give a prediction for this, just because I was so happy to hear that Peter Sabata wanted to represent Jamaica, even though he's not from Jamaica. I think it's cool as hell. So, too bad for Peter Sabata. They went to decision. Oliveira squeezed it out. It was a good fight, but better luck next time. But the talk of the town, man. The talk of the town is Khamzat Chimaev. Yo, this brother on 10 days notice. Now, this is unheard of. The man fought twice in 10 days. That don't happen. But you know why he was able to do that? Because he didn't get touched in 2 fights. In 2 fights, he did not get touched. So the first fight, took the guy down, submission. This fight, took the guy down, submission. KO, it just ground and pound. It's incredible. He's Dagestani. Well, I don't even know if he's Dagestani. Him sound just like Khabib. He's definitely Russian. I think he's Russian Serbian. And he's on an absolute tear. He's at 8-0. And the man, literally the fight started, he just went in, grabbed a single to a double, and then just picked up the guy. It wasn't even a double. It was a single, and then grabbed the waist, high crotch, picked up the guy, brought him over to his corner, put him down, had him against the cage, and then took him down. And then just controlled and ground and pound until the fight done. It was incredible. Like, honestly, future champion. Another guy who I saw that I was like, man, this guy got to be a future featherweight champion is this guy, Movsar Evloev. 13-0. The fight with Mike Grundy was incredible. Grundy was going for those takedowns. Evloev showed incredible agility and fight IQ and ground fighting IQ. He was able to consistently scramble out and find positions and reverse positions and get up. And you can tell that he has great wrestling. He probably has great jiu-jitsu, but he just doesn't want to be down there, and was able to consistently get up and fight. And I'm looking towards this guy for the future to see like what he's doing. We're gonna have to watch him, right? Movsar Evloev. Trust me, we're going to know him name soon. Incredible fighter. The only other thing that really stood out that night was Francisco Trinaldo and his knockout of Jai Herbert, and the fact that he knocked him out with one punch, and Herb Dean, I guess his angler or whatever, didn't really see it, and it created a controversy with Dan Hardy, as a commentator, cussing off the referee. And I mean, Herbert is Dan's brethren. He's one of his training partners. And so to see him get knocked out and then be, consistently pounded after that on the ground, the referee, it was a late stoppage by the ref. Herb Dean is the standard. Herb Dean, referee of the year, like in years running consecutively, and usually makes the right calls, but he's still human, you know what I mean? And he messed up this time. Dan Hardy went after him, and it really, probably not appropriate, but you need some of that. You need somebody to be able to talk up, and I wish people could cuss the judges in that way too. But it was an emotional moment for Dan, and I think everybody understands. Listen, Herb doesn't usually mess up. He messed up this time. We can forgive him. Hopefully Herbert isn't too hurt and didn't suffer too much of a concussion from it. That's why this job is so important, the referee's job, and it's a difficult job just because it's almost like you can never get things right with people. You're going to get criticized no matter what you do. Early stoppage, late stoppage, it's always a thing. I don't know, losers never lose. It's never fair, or whatever. So yeah, it was just an incredible weekend of fights, and I think just being on Fight Island was incredible, for the last couple of weeks. So I'm happy that they did it. I'm happy we got to see a bunch of international fighters again, and I look forward to the next time we can do it.